Our next part of the program is a panel in which I invite two speakers up the stage, Bram Hoefnagel and Vincent de Ruijter. Please give them a hand. So, let's first do a round of introductions. That's probably best. So, Bram, you want to go first?
Sure, let me kick it off. Am I audible? I guess so. Bram Hoefnagel, working in Vanderlande over the last 4 years. Before that, 15 years in Philips. So I'm brainwashed, educated by big quality systems at various roles in there. And now, what we call a platform manager of Vanderlande. We like to rebuild all the job titles, but it very comes closely to solution management. If you look at large-scale solutions of SAFE. So I'm actually juggling all day with the two backlogs that Ger was showing. The quality enablers versus the product backlog. And how do we make sure we have the right balance there? That's my job. We have a large solution train in Vanderlande in the warehouse domain. About 6 arts, 600 engineers. And trying to build one platform for our warehouse automated solutions. So someday I hope we can sell to Daniel. I don't know if he's here in the room, but that would be interesting.
Sure to catch him later. Vincent.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Vincent de Ruijter, working for Konecranes since 12 years. Konecranes is a rather big company, so I work for the Port Solutions department. I have a background in ports forever. Since my graduation from university, I worked on terminals. 12 years ago, some former colleagues from my first job called me and they said, well, you actually speak developer and you speak human. Can you join us to help us making sure that the developers build what we want them to build? So that's how I started, and over time I ended up as chief product owner, responsible for 11 Scrum teams, juggling with roadmaps and backlogs, also trying to make sure that the engineering department runs as expected. So quality is also for us important and an interesting topic to see how we can improve it.
Thanks. So let's structure this conversation by going from down to up. So let's really get into the weeds. Ger showed us some code examples, and somebody actually tried to already solve the code example. Kind of curious how you would test whether the rewritten code would actually be the same code. Very interesting, but it's a smart take. I think Ger gave the example that sometimes people write code that they don't recognize a year later. I have definitely written code I didn't recognize an hour later, but I'm a really bad coder. Did you saw that complex code and actually also the funny comment about nobody understanding? Do you think you have that type of code in your organization?
I don't think. I know for sure.
You know for sure that you have that type.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and do you have a technical dead log? Where you actually do you know exactly where all the bodies are buried?
Yes and no, on different levels. We have module teams, teams that own certain parts of the whole solution. They should know it. They own it. I don't. On solution level, I worry more about the larger topics that we are able to deploy or to configure our system in X amount of time. But the teams should know about these gaps in their module. Some do, I know for sure, but also some don't. And this very much links to the agile question you asked earlier about the freedom of the teams. Yeah, I joined Vanderlande 4 years ago, and it was not agile; it was anarchy. So we had at that point in time 9 software development teams, 80 people. Yeah, now we grew to 250 people. But all of them have a different tech stacks, different code base, different solutions, while working on the same solutions. And you cannot really translate any module from team A to team B because it was full of this complex code and comments all over the place. So in my first 100 days, I don't know, but after half a year, I made some decisions to kick out some stuff as well, standardize on some technical standards, technical libraries that you're going to reuse. Let's go for a Java stack and stay on whatever Spring Boot version and not do Quarkus, things like that. And those are painful decisions as a manager. You lose people, you lose teams. You don't want to have those conversations. but you will have them. And
We'll definitely get back.
this is the result of this.
Yes, we'll poke into the painful conversations later because these are very interesting. Do you recognize the situation?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We
Anarchy also still?
No anarchy. We have problems at a smaller scale, similar problems. So we have some code which is really old, which is really bad.
Yep.
The benefit that we have got is still working for us. So one of the guys who made it is still working for us. He's also one of the happy few that understands it. He's going to retire end of the year. So for that, we now have a small program to make the code easier, make it readable. It's code that never needed to change. That's what Gert says. If it's working, don't change it. But now it's working. We don't need to change it, but the expert is leaving.
But do you know where it is? Or do
We know
you
where the
also-
code is.
you-
Oh, yes.
But if you personally would like to know all of it right now, could you know where it is, or do you also have to trust your teams? Yes, you do.
I know where it is.
Okay.
And the teams know where it is.
Okay.
So our software consists of two parts, legacy, and that's stable. And that's where the biggest maintainability problems are. And the more modern stuff in there, it's actually good. So it's quite hard to convince them not to change the old stuff. Because we tell them maintainability should go up, it should go up. And people getting to use it, they're doing it. But still, we try to let them focus on the new part and the maintainable stuff. But the technology trouble, we don't have them that much. Developers are complaining that we have too many technologies. That's why I like these examples.
How much?
You have way more than we have.
Is it like 3? Is it 30? Is it 300? What am I looking at?
Development languages, we have Java and C++. That's all. Few databases. We still use Corba. Very old, but it's working. So people want to get rid of it. Why don't we replace it? Well, it's 5 man years of work. High risk. Our customers do not like risk. On your graph of the ability to accept risk, our customers are low. They don't want any risk.
Who in the room knows for their organization, or knows that somebody in their organization knows exactly where all the bodies are buried in terms of technical debt? No? With some generic idea? Aye. Okay, that's not a lot. It's recognizable though. If I had to pull a thread through all the conversations that we've seen on this stage in the past afternoon, I think everybody says the same thing: measure, 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 data, data, data. And so what role does it play? You're very confident when I ask you, do you know where everything is? Yes. So what role plays measurement and data for you? How central is it?
For me, a lot.
Yeah.
We happen to use your software for this. We use it through the whole organization. So it's not only used by management, we use it from managers all the way to developers. So everybody has the same tool. And that makes it a lot easier to identify where the problems are and what we need to fix. If you say, what does data mean to people? It means more to me than to the developers. We still have trouble making people understand that the data is something you should use. I heard the example, if you prepare a feature, look at your tech debt and take it into account for your planning. Yeah, we are promoting that, but we have a hard time convincing the engineers to actually do that.
Yeah, is that still an ongoing process?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get back to that for best practices as we slowly move up the problem chain. So you said teams should know, and where you sort of implied that it's a little bit more devolved into the teams. Is that so? You don't centralize data about quality? Question mark. Is that something you do?
No. No. That's really on the team level. So we have various tools, scanners, what have you, to say something about certain quality elements. Usually it stays in the teams. Of course, there are report outs, but usually it stays on team level. Unless we have a burning topic somewhere, a burning product somewhere, then we call you guys, and then we open up that box of Pandora, and then we go into that problem area. But usually it stays in the teams. And that, for us, also works best.
Yeah, is that a design decision, sort of intervention-based software measurement?
Yeah.
Yeah. And why? What is the design decision behind it? Why this way?
Ownership stays within the team. People feel free to talk about it in the team. I have on solution level, I have 60% of freedom to have the teams working on the business development, and that's a combination of product and quality enablers. But the other 40% is for fire brigade, tech depths, what have you. So if the team has the insight on where their pay points are, they can make good use of time in that 40%. So they need to have the insights. I don't.
No, that makes sense. So before I continue, because I have a million questions, I could keep going, and I will. But in the meantime, other people in the room that also have questions so far about the things that we are discussing. Perhaps we should slowly move up the sort of the management chain. So you talked about anarchy. Maybe start there. It's of course a very fun position to start with. And you started listing a couple of interventions that you essentially did. Can you maybe expound on those a little bit more? So how did you get these teams to slowly act a little bit more in line with what you wanted them to do?
Yeah, that's a combination of various elements. I think almost all the elements that you saw in the model that Ger was presenting are coming back in there. It's organization, so on the organizational level, we really reorganized way more to elements of skilled agile. On technical side, we really set up architecture and different layers, so working with architecture design records, but also layered architecture. And then end of the line, you have to make some difficult calls because you have to make decisions, right? And that's what happened. And like in many organizations, our group is a consolidation of multiple acquisitions from multiple other companies. So different cultures, different tech stacks, everything comes together. So you give it some time, but at some point you also need to make some calls there. And that's what happened.
Yeah. So I've asked this question before today about the autonomous teams, but I think you already hinted at it a bit. When you start discussing with teams, sort of top down, where you have certain requirements that you want people to make. We talked about that in the context of security, but of course there are other quality aspects that you can take into consideration. You already hinted that it's sometimes not so easy to get the teams along with that.
True.
Can you expand upon that a little bit?
Well,
examples?
If you would ask me, I would say quality should be the same thing as breeding. It should go by itself.
Yeah.
But that's not happening.
No.
So what we try to do, we try to set the boundaries not only on technology, but also on targets, security, Cyber Resilience Act. We simply say, well, we have 3 years time to fix it. Fix it. And we show them the numbers, we show them where they are, we show them the current state, we show them where we started. But still, it's really hard. People, for some reason, they don't take the initiative to say, well, we're halfway, few to go, let's do that. It doesn't happen. Few people, me, I'm a system architect, we quite often, we make 10 features, we make tickets, we walk around and say, people, well, can you fix it for me? Yes, of course, sure, no problem. So if you ask them directly, there's no problem at all, the motivation is there, but the initiative to do it, it's quite hard.
And so what have you discovered so far, what works in terms of best practices? Ask them directly?
Just ask them, yeah. And if you ask them, there is never a no. So that's easy, that's a good thing. So people do understand that quality is important, and if you ask them to work on it, they say, sure, we will fix that. But just saying, well, those are the numbers. You have all the freedom that you want. You make your own planning. We also use scaled agile, so that's the work you planned. You have some slack on your planning, just fix it. And that's not happening a lot. It's slowly, we see some improvements, but it's hard.
So how strict were you in implementing scaled agile?
Not so strict.
Not strict, because you also said we took elements from scaled agile. So I kind of wonder, what elements did you guys actually implement, and what did you leave on the table?
End of the line, I think we have 99% of skilled agile implemented. I don't know, but a very large portion, Werner. But Vanderlande is a combination. The roots are in mechatronics, electronics. So if you immediately start to talk about skilled agile, you lose 70% of the organization. So the software guys can follow, but you need to slowly adapt the practices. So an STE is not called an STE, but it's called head RTE or whatever, just for the dialogue, things like that. But end of the line, I think it comes very closely to skilled agile. The combination getting the non-software people along with this is extremely difficult. That was the main battle. We are still fighting. I have to say, yeah. So this starts from technology. It starts from software. Now then later on you bring in you start to realize, hey, we have module teams only working on our warehouse execution system. So that's the software part, and we have module teams working on our, big storage systems. So that's more mechatronic part. At some point you realize, hey, these two needs to work together. So then you form arts. You talk about multidisciplinary kind of teams, and that's a matter of, well, increments, PIs, years before you are there. I think we're now at a stage that we have at least product management, the commercial side of Vanderlande on board as well. But service and operations, that is really still a way to go. But that will come. And DevOps practices will help for that. So now we have more shopping in that field. So that's the next challenge.
Any other skilled agile organizations in the room? None? Yeah, okay.
That must be right, yeah.
Smells a famous one. No others? It might be our visitors. It was at some point I couldn't visit an organization or we would find a poster on the wall or somebody reading the Skilled Agile manual. I think it's slightly less popular right now. Maybe it's over the... And often the implementations are, you take the bits that fit your organization and then of course you have to try to... So what bits did you take out?
Sorry?
What bits did you take out of the implementation of Skilled Agile?
Most of them. Yeah. The only thing we really do not do is a big group planning at the beginning of a PI. We have people spread over 3 locations, and we have a small group of people who share their opinions, and we have a very big group of people who's really shy, and they would be there sitting, not contributing. So we think that's a waste of time. So we do the preparation of the features a bit different. Yeah. But for the rest, we have PI plannings, we have the sprints, we have the RTE, we have the Scrum Masters, we have all the ceremonies. Quality of the ceremonies is improving. So in the beginning, there was a retrospective because there was a retrospective. It took 5 minutes and the planning session took 2 hours. And now you slowly see that it's shifting, that the retrospective is taking more time and the planning is getting more efficient. But there is improvement to not only perform the ceremonies, but also use the ceremonies. But we do have implemented most of the things. And the biggest thing we changed when we switched to Skilled Agile, moved from component teams. We have a rather big fleet management system, and we had teams working on specific parts. And we put all the people in one room. And we said, well, we want to split you over 11 teams. We're leaving. Have fun. Make your own teams and make sure that you are cross-functional teams. So that's how we made the new teams, and that's how we started with telling them, well, you're now an autonomous team. You even selected your own teammates. So this means we trust you. So please go for it.
It's an interesting process. You left, and then you waited until... Yes, the teams are formulated. Nice. I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, I want to say another thing on the skilled framework. We have multiple levels in Vanderlande. So the team level, the module level, and the solution level. And one of the pitfalls, if you really have your team and your module under control, is you go back to things are delivered to the central team. And in the past, you had a central test team. I'm sure many people know that also. And that is also in the kind of the setup of the large solution part of SAFe. And I really experienced that streams were delivering or arts were delivering into the solution team and kind of see it as the test team, back to the quality topic. But end of the line, that doesn't work. So just kick it back and really ownership where it can be, lowest level of the organization, and let it be fixed there, have the data there, have the reporting there. And then promote it up to the next levels, fully automated, of course. But that's a big investment that you need to do as an organization.
No, I still am interested in this discrepancy between you wanting to have the data and you saying not really, but I do think the data needs to be available. Do you then help? Do you support teams by making sure the data is available?
But of course, I want data as well. I want a lot of data as well. Yeah. But I care about requirement compliancy. If we have back to security NIST or CRA requirements or whatever, I want to know where we are on module level and on system level. I want to have that kind of insight. But about the scoring of coding quality or the engineering level on, whatever, I don't know. That should stay in the teams usually. Who has the shortest bug resolution time, who's the hero in the team. That data I want to stay in the teams and on the module level. I don't want to know that on solution level.
No.
We did that in the past, that we were also having that data visible on the managerial level. We made all kind of decisions based on that. You come immediately in all kind of productivity discussions because Team A produces less defects than Team B, or produces more story points. You have a hell of a discussion about normalization of story points, first at all. After that is settled, then you think you can say something about productivity. We really... No. All our teams in the US were great and delivering absolute quality, but end of the line, that was was the opposite, right? So you should not, on top level, don't worry about those metrics. Let that be handled on the team level and then on the module level, and not on solution level, because you draw your own conclusions. At least that's what I did. Let's say it like that.
So let's step up a bit more. So all of us here are somehow interested in software quality, else we wouldn't be here. So how do we talk to people who are not? So how do you talk to other stakeholders in an organization when they have questions about your group, about your departments?
Well, we don't have that many other stakeholders in the department, so that's easy. We have the whole engineering department.
Yes.
We have project management, and then we have customers. That's easy, even though Konecranes is rather big. We are a rather small organization within the big factory.
The umbrella, yeah.
So that makes it easy, and yeah, as you always said, having project management involved is hard. But over years, because we do this now for 5 years, it has become easier.
What made it easier?
I sit with them every 14 days. I simply say, if you want to change something to the current planning, that's the moment in time. What they do a lot is what I call shopping. You see them running into teams because teams can decide on their own. So they're looking to developers, can you help me, can you do this? And well, my task is to move them out. So if you want something, fine. But if you want something in, something needs to be taken out. Only then it works. And also, I think what Gert mentioned with the blue graph, if a project comes to me and says, well, for the sake of this project, this really has to be finished today, that's good, then I want the budget twice. Today to do what you want, and then tomorrow to fix it. And that's a conversation we have frequently. And project management is improving there, so they're accepting it more and more.
So it's essentially very strictly following a mature process that you have in place, regarding that.
Yep. But also explaining why you do it, not just stating it. As you said, you had some very hard decisions. We have the same thing. We have multiple customers. They all have high priority. Sometimes it's no, but always explain why there is a no, because that helps people accepting it.
Yeah.
And that's for me always an important thing.
Do you recognize this, Bram?
Yeah, we had our first pilot customer for the large warehouse solution that we are building was a big disaster. That was about 1.5 years ago. And one of the mitigations for that is that we set up what we call triangles on all levels. And triangles means representation from technology, from operations, so typically service part, and global solutions. Global solutions is product management or all different layers. And we have that on all levels of the organization. So on team level, on module level, and on solution level. And I'm in that solution triangle together with 2 peers, and that is where I have that conversation about the quality. And I think we are now at a stage with operations, it's very easy to talk about. They want to have configurators for the software we deliver. They want to have software with good audit trails or whatever, because they have the service guys in the field. So they know very well what they want. But if you talk product management, it took me about a year to kind of explain the quality parts, because end of the line, it's all about features.
Sure.
It's all about features. If you start translating that to the easiest one was performance. Okay, yeah. So how many orders do we want to process to a standard reference system, and what is the accuracy? How many shortage can we have? Things like that. That was an easy conversation. But then reliability, upgradability. Why do we need to upgrade the system? It runs well. We do this already for 20 years. We commission the system and we don't touch it. Yeah, okay, but then now we're going to deal with these new security regulations that we need to act within X amount of time. So that helps. The attention worldwide for security also helps.
Yeah.
My stakeholders are asking now questions about how can we mitigate that, and that was not the case a few years ago.
So instead of you bringing it up, you're being asked. Yeah, that's a big change from a little while ago.
The product management department at some point asked, hey, Bram, perhaps you should also create a roadmap for our quality enablers, for our non-functionals. Oh, okay. Now, I have that already for years, but let me show you. Sure.
And so this performance is relatively visible, especially in your domain. Security is also at least top of mind for people outside of software, IT.
Yeah.
Are there any other non-functionals that you're being asked about or that you actively have to explain?
Deployment, because a Vanderlande system for a large customer, Leclerc or whatever, typically takes 24 months from start to really fully operation.
Yeah.
So how can we reduce the time to commission the system? That's also a quality enabler many people ask about. Configuration. So how can we easily configure the system, because we want to go from engineer to order to configure to order systems. Those are the most important ones, I would say. Upgradability, but I mentioned that, linked to security.
Yeah, related. Any other non-functionals that you report on, or that you have to report on?
For us, an important one at the moment is resource usage. It works, no bugs, but the amount of resource that it's using, it's quite high.
Yeah.
So that's a point of attention that gets more attention now, because for a while people said, that's okay. Steel is cheaper than labor, so just make more CPUs, just take more memory, problem solved.
It's one of the tragedies of software development. That's why embedded software development is the hardest, because then you're typically limited. And that's also changing. Because
now we are at the point that the whole test automation, the hardware is not enough anymore. We're growing, more developers, more teams. So now the people start realizing that resource usage is also an important quality criteria. And security, that's already the case. Within Konecranes, we have quite an active security department. So that's already on the radar for a long time.
Are you one of these organizations that have a definition of done for security on a developer level?
No.
No? Is that for a reason?
We let the definition of done be set by the teams themselves. So we have a definition of ready for all the features.
Yeah.
And there we need to make sure that we do a risk analysis and a threat model analysis. So in the preparation it's done, but for the teams themselves it's not. But we measure vulnerabilities, and if there's a new one, we fix it on the spot.
Yeah, immediately, so reactively, but quickly.
Yep.
Are there questions from the room? People have observations, opinions? Good, we're being extremely clear. In the case of reporting these non-functionals that you're talking about, is there some kind of formalization in which you do this, or is this only a conversation? And so you talked about this triangle that you're a part of.
No, that's also formal and traceability reports, I would say. So end of the line, it ends up in requirements, design requirements, ADRs, and we track compliance amongst those. So you have those, again, from solution to module level. And that's how you formalize it. That's how we formalize it.
I'm kind of looking for, what if you start asking questions about sustainability at some point, or other ESG-related, green IT is not the topic of this particular panel, but it's definitely something that might also play a role in your organization. Is that something that you're already preparing for, that you can report about that, or is that not yet a topic?
That I can report about it, not, but we work with a solution backlog, and of course I have 3 initiatives on sustainability that we are working on, switching off, or different power modes in the system, whatever, doesn't matter. But that's how we manage it to our Kanban. We have about 20 topics for this large organization, and 3 of them are related to sustainability, and then we just manage that in Jira, Werner, so that's where we have the conversation about. We have our portfolio reviews and whatever, where we look at the Kanban, what's the progress, what the status, so those kind of rituals trigger the conversation. And don't have detailed insights on where we are there.
But do you expect a question in a couple of years?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So from an innovation perspective, we are looking at how to model this. So we can also start predicting our energy consumption, for instance, for layouts, customer layouts. So we are looking at it, but that's more via an innovation track at this point in time.
Yeah, and Vincent, you're part of a larger umbrella organization, which I also suppose has to report on ESG-related matters. Is that something you are currently already doing or preparing for?
We're looking at it, because Konecranes, most people know Konecranes is a steel manufacturer.
Yes.
So they have big factories. So that's the main focus for them. We are doing software. So within the Konecranes family, we are a bit an odd family member. So quite often the whole organization looks at us instead of the other way around. So we are preparing to say, well, what's coming towards us? What do we need to prepare? At the moment, I'm using it more to convince people that resource usage is important. So some people, they really want to say the software uses too much resources. And some people say, well, the whole carbon footprint is not good enough. Well, it doesn't matter. If you fix it, we have the same result. It benefits both.
But between all of these factory organizations, you're not the first one being asked about your sustainability. That's your, I can imagine.
If you look at the footprint of all the factories,
I can imagine.
That's a lot bigger than what our software produces.
For the last time looking at the room. Yes, we have a question, Maxime.
Thank you so much. I have one question. It's maybe a little bit weird that we all talking about leadership in software quality, but we never mention soft skills, that how soft skills can help us to improve software quality. We only focusing on technical stuff. If we cannot communicate together, then it's not easy to have a quality in software also. I was wondering what would be your point of view in this regard.
Yeah, soft skills. I don't know if it's soft skill. At the end of the line, it's about communication. But we went now in a very technical conversation. But end of the line, it's about the mindset that you create on software quality.
I wanted to understand how you put it in your role as a leader in your.
I take teams along to the customer. So Albert Heijn has a large distribution center in Zaandam. I take teams to there and I show them, hey, if you fuck up the software, this service guy there needs to repair it. That's the best way for an engineer to understand software quality. Next time you will think about making sure he commits his delivery. That's what I try to do.
So, but your example of soft skills is scaring somebody at a client.
Yeah, no, that's not. It's a dialogue.
I get it.
Customer feedback centricity was really a topic. So we really sent all our engineering teams mandatory to sites, speaking with the service engineers, really to get that awareness, because there was a big Chinese wall between engineering and the service department end of the line. We're now slowly moving to DevOps practices. I hope that will help, but that's still in a wish stage. So we really had to actively educate the engineers on experience on the field. So that was...
I see still some question, but I think we need to wrap up as well.
Are people waiting? Oh, last question then. They can wait. Ger.
Yeah, maybe not a question, but talking about soft skills is related to behavior. And I think an important aspect in behavior is culture. Yeah, like, for instance, you get what you ask for. But what I see a lot within ASML, for instance, is a lot of feature push. So people ask for feature, and if you reward feature development, then quality will suffer. So it's very much also about culture and what you ask for.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I can only recognize that. Yeah.
That sounds like an amen.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I like this.